Histrionic personality disorder is a large part of my life. I developed this as I was a kid to be able to get attention, to be able to feel good about me by being the center of attention. For a long time, in a lot of my relationships, especially in bands, I was a drama queen, doing ridiculous things, had to get all the attention and suck all of the air of the attention out of the room. That was a big part of my life, and I didn't really like being that person, but that's who I was. I had to wear clothes other people weren't wearing. I had to behave in other ways people weren't behaving. I did everything I could to manipulate and control everyone around me. I would blow things out of proportion intentionally to be able to manipulate situations so that I could come out on top, so I could have an edge against other people. I would spend my time really in the pursuit of self gratification. I definitely spent a lot of my time in the pursuit of attention and approval from women, and did a lot of risky things in my life that I'm not proud of in that regard. I should have been a much better man, but I didn't understand how to love and honor and cherish women and womankind until I was in my 30s, unfortunately. I had a bunch of catastrophizing as well. And for me, what that looks like is everything is the worst case scenario, but the bigger problem is that because everything is the worst case scenario, I wouldn't even try things. I wouldn't even give myself to things enough for me to be successful. I would apply myself just enough so that I could justify myself as a failure, which is really, really wild. Like that I would not give myself wholeheartedly to things. I'd give myself 20% to things, 25%, something like that. And then I would justify why I failed as a bunch of external reasons instead of me not taking full accountability, ownership, and responsibility for my behavior. I believed that the tragedy in life was other people not knowing me, if that makes sense. It was all a smoke show. You know, I'd wear these leather jackets and I would have a persona. And unfortunately, that person was such a wounded, damaged human being that he did everything he could at the expense of others. I didn't really care about other people. I just used them for my own selfish reasons, I guess is the best way to say it. I use people for my own selfish reasons. And I am so grateful I am not that person anymore. I have moved beyond being a damaged, wounded little kid as an adult and put myself in a position where now I am always doing my best to serve people instead of taking from people. I did a lot of taking from people and manipulating people. And it's embarrassing, to admit at 41 years old who I used to be for decades of my life. I didn't want to be that person. I just didn't understand I even had a problem. My ego was so big, such a flaming narcissist that I couldn't look at these things. I couldn't take responsibility for these things. I would do a lot of chaos manufacturing in my life, put myself in situations where I could have ended up dead or at least in the hospital. I did that a lot. I would basically do anything if I was challenged, even if it meant being harmed. I remember so many memories of my life where I was terrified inside for people to see who I really was. And so I had to be this larger than life thing. I had to be this semblance of a false reality that would enable me to have people see me in a certain light. Like, I don't want to mess with that guy. Or, it's weird. It's like I wanted this reverence from people for being the crazy guy, but I didn't want to do things that were super, super extreme. I mean, I would jump out of moving cars. I mean, I did stuff like that when I was a kid. I do some pretty crazy things, man. I remember we would do these stunts, man. And I was always the one to jump up and say, "Yeah, I'll do it." Like this one time, we would build bombs, and like we would put them under. We put all this stuff under a Home Depot bucket once, and it was like some sort of explosive and a bunch of rocket engines, and everybody was scared to light it, but I wasn't. I wanted to look good. I wanted to be the guy that was just crazy enough to do the stupid thing. And we had just gotten done lighting rocket engines on the dog line. Like, we'd hooked up rocket engines. I think we did duct tape and like a straw or something like that. And we were sending these things down the dog line instead of, putting rockets up out in the air. And all my friends are about 20, 30 feet away from this Home Depot bucket that we've got some... I don't exactly remember how we manufactured the explosive. I think somebody else did that. But we had a bunch of rocket engines in there. And so no one was willing to light it. And so, of course, I'm the guy. Run up there, light the thing. And I just remember running full speed and just watching rocket engines just whistle past me. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, things like that were just normal for me. Hey, let's get on the second story roof and let's jump off the roof onto the trampoline. First man up. First man up. Right here. First man up. I had this fearlessness quality that has actually served me in life when you have good boundaries around it. But in this case, I had to be the guy that was the one that was, willing to say, I'll do it when nobody else would. I also really kind of became sort of a person of drama, where I would say a couple things in the sly to people to start these little like spat like fights and just kind of watch them implode. I used to love starting drama like that. And it's sad to say, but like I used to get a kick off that, watching people like, be pissed at each other, going back and forth and fighting over things that never existed or happened. I would create a lot of drama like that. And I would also create a lot of drama in regards to like who wanted video games and stuff like that. I mean, I was miserable to any type of social interaction where there was a competitive element. I was a miserable person to be around because I didn't just want to win. I wanted to inflict pain on people that lost, and my mouth knew how to do it. My mouth knew how to be a manipulative, vile person towards other people. I wish I could get a lot of that back, especially in my relationship with my family, my brothers and sisters in particular. But I was a miserable person like that. And all of this stems from how I grew up, obviously. But see, that's the thing. I really think ultimately the goal of my channel is to get people to take personal accountability and responsibility of their life by being honest. And I have hid from being honest most of my life because I want to be seen a certain way. I want to have a certain bravado. However, all that's ever done is put me in a place where I am not capable of being myself. I'm done with that guy. That guy's gone. That guy has been evicted from my soul and no longer lives here. Now at this stage in my life, I'm way more fascinated by how honest I can be, and how the more honest I am, the more I get connected to people. Genuine, authentic people really, really cherish authentic people. It's hard to find them. It's hard to find people without an angle. Most people have an angle. Most people are working an angle on you, trying to use you or extract stuff from you. That's what it always felt like in my life. And I would do that with other people too. I was that person where I do favors for people expecting something in return. A lot of my life really, really felt like I was this type of person where all these strings were attached to stuff. And I never told people about the strings. I just had them attached. Like, oh, I'm going to do this for you, but with the expectation that you're going to do something for me. I never really loved people or like cared about people. They were just opportunities for me to use, for me to be able to get my needs met, or to be able to get whatever I wanted out of them. Does most of my relationships in my 20s, before I found recovery and before I started working and began to understand there's an entirely different way to live life. And I'm screwing it up, and I'm harming people, and I'm not being a person of integrity, and I'm not the type of person that could develop any form of long-term relationships at all. I'm the type of person that is going to milk relationships for what I can get out of them and then move on to the next one. That was my MO. And ultimately, that existed in me because that's how I saw myself. That's how I saw what happened to me. And I was repeating what had been done to me to other people. And I feel sad about that, because I got a lot of people in my life that I've known, because I have a pretty charismatic, outgoing personality. I wish I could have been better to them back then. I just didn't have it in me. It wasn't part of my operating software. It was not part of my MO. I really always wanted to just be able to be myself, but it came at the expense of others. It always came at the expense of others. I couldn't be me because it required me to fit into the mold I thought was necessary from the person at the time. If you're like this, and you've lived like this, in sort of a chameleon, like drama type of person, I want you to know I feel sorry for you, because it's a really sad way to live. Like, there are better options and better outcomes for your life if you could just be yourself instead of being the semblance of everything that you think everyone wants you to be. Just be you, and the relationships that leave your life will be blessings, and the ones that stay will be even greater blessings. But if you have to sacrifice who you are to be able to be respected and connect with other people, it's simply not worth it. That's what I've learned.